Hi boys and girls, I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a very happy Easter. Okay, so we are going to continue on studying about the Roman Republic, and we're going to talk about society in the Republic today, okay? So take out a piece of paper and a pencil for your notes, and you can stop this video at any time to make sure you understand it, review it, and you know the vocabulary. So the 4 vocabulary words are such: patriarchal society, which means men ruled their families. Pater familias, oldest man in a Roman family and head of the household. Villa, large country homes. And then finally, established religion, an official religion supported by the government. Okay, so we're going to talk about all 4 of those things today, and also we'll go over my pyramid. Don't laugh at my pictures. I'm not a very good artist, but my Roman Republic social pyramid, okay? Like other ancient societies, Rome was divided by gender and class. Men and women had their own social rules. The lives of wealthy Romans were also very different from the lives of poor Romans and slaves. Rome was a patriarchal society, which means that men ruled their families and that people traced their origins through their male ancestors. What power did fathers have? The oldest man in a Roman family was called the pater familias, or head of the household. He owned all of the family's property. In theory, a father had absolute unlimited power over his wife. He also had power over his children, his slaves, and his underage siblings. He could sell his children into slavery. In practice, however, a father's power was limited by custom. In fact, many fathers felt that one's duty toward their families was the highest of Roman virtue. Well, what was the role of women? Well, Roman women enjoyed a lot more freedom than the Greek women did. Unlike most Greek women, they could own personal property. And also, unlike many Greek women, Roman women took an active role in social life. Women went to parties, enjoyed the theater, and participated in religious rituals. They could make wills, divorce their husbands, and go out in public. In addition, rich wives and mothers could sometimes influence public decisions through their husbands and sons. But as you have already read, women could not vote, they could not attend assemblies, and they couldn't hold public office. But according to Romans, the most important role of a Roman woman was to bear children and raise them and to follow traditions. The ideal woman back in the Roman Republic was a faithful wife and mother devoted to her family. So how did the rich and poor live? Most Romans were poor, free people who were enslaved, and a tiny minority, and the word minority means a group that is less than half of the population, were wealthy. So in my pyramid, you see that this is the minority, a very small triangle at the top. And this is like the top of society. Most wealthy Romans earned their money through agriculture, like farming. They owned huge farms worked by poor Romans or slaves. The landowners grew rich from what the people produced. Other wealthy Romans earned their fortunes through business. Upper-class Romans lived in 1- or 2-story houses as large as a block. These homes had courtyards, gardens, private baths, beautiful decorations, and even running water, which was quite rare back then. Many elite families also owned villas or large country homes, one of your vocabulary words right there. What was life like for the common people? Well, life was very different for poor Romans. In the city, most poor people lived in cramped apartments without running water. Crime, disease, and fire were serious dangers. Apartment buildings were often badly built and sometimes collapsed. And you see that that's much larger part of right here in the middle, the poor citizens, much larger part of the pyramid. Then we go on to Roman slavery at the bottom. Slavery was very common in ancient Rome. As Rome became richer and more powerful, Romans bought or captured more and more slaves. As many as 40% of the people in Rome in the year 1 may have been enslaved. How did the enslaved people live? Well, for most of Roman history, enslaved people had no rights. They were bought and sold as property. Children born to slaves were also slaves. Many slaves worked in mines or large farms. These enslaved people often died quickly due to brutal treatment. Other slaves led easier lives. Some enslaved people worked in the homes of their wealthy masters. They performed housework for their masters, and sometimes they were a reliable source of food and shelter for the poor, free Romans. Some educated slaves worked as secretaries or teachers. These slaves were usually Greeks. Although they lived in much better conditions than other enslaved people, they could still be treated very cruelly. Some slaves fought back against their masters. One famous fighter was Spartacus, who led an army of rebel slaves in the year 70. They fought the Roman army and threatened to capture Rome before the Romans defeated them. Now we're going to talk about religion and established religion. Well, religion was an important part of everyday life in ancient Rome. Religious practices were at the center of the lives of Roman citizens, both with their families at home altars, where they offered sacrifices, and at many public events. The Romans worshipped hundreds of gods. Unlike us, we have one God, right? Many were adapted from Greeks, others came from Latin traditions, and some came from the people that the Romans conquered. Rome had an established religion, an official religion supported by the government. Government officials also served as priests. They often consulted religious experts before making decisions. Romans believed that maintaining good relations with gods was part of the government's job. Rome was also home to thousands of Jews. Judaism was recognized by Julius Caesar and as an officially permitted religion. Romans also often thought that their success was due to their attention to the gods. So they tried to please the gods so that they would be successful. Okay, so the lesson asks, in what way was Rome a patriarchal society? Well, we know it was a patriarchal society because men ruled their families and men were ruling society. What class of people owned villas? Well, we talked about that. The wealthy class did, right? It was a large country home. And who was the pater familias of a Roman family? It was the oldest man in a Roman family, and he was the head of the household, okay? So take a look at my